All right. Hello, everybody. All right. All right. So, welcome to the Mikesand, everybody. So tonight we're gonna. Well, okay. There's Dylan right there. Hey, Dill. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
He just muted himself.
Hello.
John, can you hear me?
Okay, maybe he's got some mic issues. He'll be probably back.
Yeah. We'll wait.
Anyways, while we're waiting for him, we're might as well introduce what we're going to be doing and all that.
Okay, so tonight's episode of the Mike Stand Weekend Edition, everybody, we're gonna do something a little different here. Instead of talking instead of like just doing kind of an open mic session like we normally do, I've asked Rick to help me bring John Dillard on. As some of you may know, there has been some drama recently, where he's kind of got caught up in it. The drama is mostly surrounding, of course, Ethan Van Sciver, Eric July, and Yellow Flash. John kind of got caught up in it, and
In the middle.
What was that?
I said yes. He got caught up in the middle. It doesn't have nothing to do with him. The drama. It's just he's in the middle of it, just
Right.
because of no fault of his.
Recently, of course, Ethan recently to have, I guess, a platform to I guess deal with some of his issues with Eric July and Yellow Flash. On one of his recent episodes of Trashcast, is the show he's using to platform these grievances. He did talk.
I'm not sure whether it's do grievances or just trash them.
Yeah. Well, anyways. Anyways, but with that though, of course, he recently did bring John into the discussion. There he is. Hey, John, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I'm sorry about that. That was my end there.
Okay. Well, did you hear any of what I was just talking about?
I didn't. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'll kind of get you caught up on what we're wanted to do for tonight. Okay. Just let you know, this is not a gotcha segment. This is it's not meant to be a gotcha towards you, towards Ethan, Flash, or Eric. Okay. What we're going to specifically be looking at was one of the episodes of Trashcast from Ethan's Trashcast. It was episode 4. I told Rick 3 because that's what I thought it was, but it was actually 4, where basically Ethan was more or less kind of talking about you, but it seemed almost like, at the very least talking about you, maybe more directly at you. The portion of this is when you went on Rex's channel about, I don't know if it was a week ago Friday or something like that. It is Trashcast number 4. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring you in. We'll watch a portion of that together, the portion that I thought was focused on you, and then if you wanted to, you could kind of respond to what Ethan was specifically saying in regards to, about you, towards you, what have you. I may stop it to ask some clarification questions. I just want to give you a chance to, if you wanted to try to address what Ethan was specifically saying about and or to you, if you wanted to address that, just give you that opportunity. Again, this is not meant as a gotcha. This is not meant as
It's not meant as drama. It's just meant as a news type piece or whatever, a comment, review, or whatever.
So I do appreciate you coming on. I had hoped that we could get RJ on too, because I know he can give some perspective too on this. But I haven't been able to get him on. So, but let me just send him a real quick message, and then we will probably get started here more. Also, if you want to comment in the chat, so I can give you a wrench if you wanted. Like one of the first things we do usually when we have people on is we try to. I want to be able to give them a chance to promote anything if they want to. So if you want to comment, I can give you a wrench, and then I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into.
Okay, that sounds fine. The only thing is, today is actually my mother-in-law's birthday, and they're picking up some food. We're gonna have a little get together here, so I only have about 45 minutes to an hour.
All right. Well, okay. We'll try to wrap it. Well, first off, we're not going to go over the whole cast, because the whole trash cast was like 2 hours. We're just going to go over what I'm hoping is maybe about a half hour's worth of it. Just the area that was specifically about you.
Okay.
Okay. So I hope we can get that all in there.
And how are you doing today, John?
Pretty good. Been one of those days where it's just plugging away. I'm trying to convert all these files to a different ratio so I can look up on Amazon. You know what I mean? It's been one of those tedious days where it's just click, 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 stretch down, zoom, save as a Clip Studio file, save that, bring it back open again, save it as a PNG, save it again as a JPEG, save it again as a TIFF, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And then on to the next page.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
Okay, so
I've done that before.
All right, so let me just go ahead then and let's see, add as a moderator. Yep. Standard. Oh yeah.
Standard, huh? Whatever.
Well, the main thing was just to give you a chance to
put links out, and he's just teasing you, Mike.
Yeah, it was just.
You got to learn Dylan's sense of humor.
All right, and I moved you because you're kind of the guest of honor here, so I wanted to put you in the two-hole there, as it were. Baseball term, as you know. So what we're gonna do, of course, before we get started, I want to give you guys a chance to of course introduce yourselves, tell everybody who you are, promote any projects, promote your channels, what have you. So actually, we'll start since you are a guest of honor here, John. I'll go ahead and, of course, as always, guys, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we get some more friendly people in here to engage, that would be appreciated. Also, if anything from anybody, whether on the panel or in the chat, if anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, John, we're going to start with you. If you want to go ahead and give an intro.
Sure. Well, hi, my name's John Dillard. I go by Dillard Draws on YouTube. You can find me on my YouTube channel where I do speed drawing videos, and on every Wednesday we do a kind of like a Pictionary game with an interactive chat thing where the chat guesses what it is we're drawing. It's a pretty fun show called Script Battle. That's Wednesdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, PM. And I'm known primarily now for being the artist on the book I'm doing with Yellow Flash, but before that I worked on a book called The Buckler, of my own creation.
All right, and of course, feel free to share any links if you have any. If you want to, as I said, promote anything, share any links that you might want to share, so those might be able to find your works. Is there anything else? Is there anything else you wanted to add before we move on to Rick?
Nope.
All right,
no,
all right.
your
Your
channel
turn.
there, John. I'm Rick Piper of Cross Comics. You can find me here on YouTube and Twitter. And just look up Cross Comics. There's a yellow glowy thing around the cross. That's how to find me. I'll put a link later in the chat. So I guess on with the show.
All right, which is what we're going to talk about here. So let's see now. So, yeah. All right. All right. So as I said, we are going to look over one of Trash Ass number 4 because John was kind of the
Focus.
focus, as it were. All right, and then now a couple of guiding points here. First off, of course, I may pause it to ask some clarification questions on certain things, but if there's anything that comes up there, John, that grabs your attention that you want to comment or respond to, just let me know. I'll pause it. We'll go ahead and let you respond to that. Talk about it if need be. And also, one other thing, just in the event that some of the other parties involved may find out that you're doing this and decide to come in, I'm going to let you, whether it's Flash or Ethan or Eric, if any of them drop by and want to join in on the conversation, I'll let you decide if you want them to, come in or not.
Okay,
right?
thank you.
Yeah, just again, this is about you. This is not necessarily about them. It is basically, as I said, just your responses to what Ethan has to say about some of the stuff recently. So, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and let me just
get on with the show.
Yeah. I'm very detail oriented, as you can tell, so I'm just trying to make it happen.
I now have 30 minutes left.
It's not. Anyway, he goes on this live stream here, which at the time when this was sent to me had only 24 views on it. So it was very subtle. Like nobody had really seen it. It's only got 108 views on it now. But this is what he said. Let's listen to John Dillard, who is Yellow Flash's artist on the up.
Which, for clarification, this was a few days ago, because I think was Tuesday or Wednesday, or whenever this was actually initially broadcast. So,
Coming Yellow Flash comic book. I better turn up the volume. Here we go.
John, what are you working on? Anything you can show us?
Not particularly at this time. I'm actually doing some light sketching for a Sebastian for Pixel Trader.
Okay.
He did a book called The Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
Parody of Little Mermaid, and there's a character called Sebastian who's a crab that smokes a cigar, and he lost a claw, and he has a knife taped onto like Chucky style, like a knife for a claw.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm doing a sketch up on here on the computer, and then I'm gonna transfer it over, print it out, and then paint it.
Right on.
Yeah, that was.
So is that for like a pin-up?
Yeah, it's just like a pin up kind of deal.
Cool.
And then I'm just doing.
what was that, Rick?
Oh, just saying that was a good job on the crowd. I seen that short or minute.
Thank you. Yeah, I put up a video today of that. I actually finished inking up and coloring in that crab that I was working on that day.
Okay. All right. Continuing on here.
The majority of the morning was spent just working on this particular Infinity page.
Right on.
Oh, this one right here I'm showing right now. I ain't finished working on it.
He was working on a page there. It's okay. That woman looks like a man,
Rods
though.
in the bar.
Rods in the bar.
He's got a. That woman is.
That's it. Just regular work stuff. Haven't been able to work on the Yellow Flash project today. Not yet. I think before I do another page, because I'm working with another artist who's kind of like helping me with the artist I really admire, Kelsey Shannon. And
he's great, dude.
He's gonna help me with the layouts, get some more dynamicism going on in there. But I haven't gotten back from him on that, so I think in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna redo the cover because I'm not happy with the cover that I did. Like I like it, but it's not like I look at it and I'm like, it's not knocking my socks off. It's not the best thing I've ever done. So
Yeah,
I disagree. I seen it earlier. It was pretty good. Yeah.
I was showing Apex last night or this morning.
Oh yeah,
I can't really see it.
I was watching
well.
the video
I'm going to go ahead and try to
That's
fast
awesome.
forward this a little bit.
It's okay.
Well, you're always going to say that, right? I mean,
If you don't
No,
mind.
I mean I think the cover I did for Rex is awesome.
John, I'm going to go ahead and try to fast forward this a little bit to where we can get to more about Ethan, hearing what Ethan had to.
Okay.
For a comic book that you're going to do, it's going to be a one-shot comic book. As an artist, for a comic book that you're going to do, it's going to be.
You're kind of like, oh, geez, man, can anything?
Well,
else
that's the
fall on
problem,
this
right?
guy?
I'm not getting paid.
Well,
I'm a partner in the book.
Partner. I'm a podna in the book.
All right, and just of course just to clarify, part of this, at least your portion of this, your involvement in this particular situation, John, happened because you had posted on X, as I understand it, that you had not been paid by Yellow Flash as at the time, correct?
No, incorrect.
Oh, incorrect?
No, I had made no statement whatsoever about none of that on X.
Okay, I thought I had heard that part of it was you mentioned it on X, but
the only thing that he mentioned on X was just before Christmas. Obviously he mentioned about this house flooding, and then people caught wind of things or whatever. Something probably wrong. Channel.
Okay, so now we are getting into what I guess some of Ethan's commentary on here, so I'm going to go ahead and go with it.
He's like, that's the problem. I'm not getting paid. I'm a podna in the book. All right, so here we go.
So I get paid on the back end after the book runs.
Right.
Isn't that convenient? That's pretty cool. To have an idea.
And I like to try to acknowledge people, especially when they come in here. So, J.R. Exner here. Hail Lord Xenu, and hail Princess Xena, and hail Dillard, Comscape Man of the Minute. Okay. Anyways, yeah, we're just going over this stuff, and I'm trying to get to it as fast as I can, John. But I just wanted to let JR know we saw that he's here. So thank you, JR, for popping in. Back to the content.
For a comic book that you're going to do, it's going to be a one-shot comic book most likely, and you just go, you know what? Instead of me paying you as an artist, how about if instead you're a partner in the book, you co-own the property that I just shit out. There you go. And then the artist gets to see. This is the thing that people don't understand about this. It takes a long time to draw a comic book. It doesn't take long to write one. It doesn't take long to conceive of it's like it's Power Rangers, but it's in World War II. It doesn't take very long to come up with that. It takes a long time to draw a comic book. So to sit there and say, I'm going to make you a partner in the book. No, you should do that anyway. I'm going to give you a percentage on the back end. You should do that anyway. Also, you want to kind of give them a little money along the way. Here we go.
So it's like, I really need this.
Was there anything you wanted to say in regard to that, Sean? Or
nope, not particular. No.
All right. Now I did ask RJ about some of this. According to what RJ told me, I guess one of
who is RJ? Is that Critical Blast?
RJ Carter.
Yeah, Critical Blast.
Critical Blast. You know him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess one of the more standard deals usually is they usually do make you a partner in the book, and then will usually they'll pay the page rate, and then when the book is sold, they'll whatever the agreed percentage on is, they'll minus whatever was already paid out, and then that and you go with the percentage forward.
Well, most of the time, from what I know in indie books, you're just hired to do a page by page rate. You're not usually put as part owner, right, John?
Yeah, when I do work, I'm a work for hire. I get paid a page rate, and that's it. Nothing.
Okay.
No
Yeah.
percentage.
Again, RJ could explain
page
it
rate.
better than I could, obviously, but
So
that's why I would hope you'd
well,
been here.
one question before we go on. When Yellow Flash, did he approach you? Did he ask you, do you want to do just a page rate or do you want to be a partner?
Well, it was a longer conversation than that, but
Yeah. I'm just trying to boil it down.
we talked about many different ways. One of those ways we talked about was including the RJ way. The thing is this: I don't like to approach stuff that way. I like to keep my life very simple. I either get a page rate or it's a collaboration. Right. So the main thing that most people are getting mixed up about this is that I'm doing Yellow Flash's book. That's incorrect. I am doing a book, our book.
You're doing a book with Yellow Flash. You're not doing Yellow Flash's book.
Right. So, for instance, if I went to Mike or Mike came to me and he was a writer, he says, hey, and he was a writer of some renown. Right? Let's say he was, I don't know, famous comic book writer like Frank Miller or something like that. Right? He says, I like your stuff. Do you want to work on a book together? Yeah, sure, whatever. It'd be fine. And if I was going to be, because what I am is I'm part owner of the book. Whether the book fails or succeeds is on me and Yellow Flash, right? So if it makes no money, we make no money. If it does make money, we both make money.
JR says, one question, when you made this contract, or did you make a...
RJ is actually RJ Carter, not JR Carter, sorry. Yeah, we know. Sorry about that, Rick. I just wanted to clarify. R.J. Carter is Critical Black. J.R. Exner here, Elk of Antioch, is the viewer here who's in here now. So just clarification.
Well, I think he knows J.R. from my channel. Although he's going by the new name, Elk of Antioch. Yeah. But he says, did you have a contract? It was drafted by a lawyer or whatever, or just a verbal agreement?
No, we have I don't know who drafted the contract, but I do have a contract, and I looked it over, and I took it to my accountant, and he looked it over, and we talked about it, me and Yellow Flash, for a long time, all the ins and outs, the ifs and whatnots, and what would happen if nobody wants to continue, and all the regular stuff, and I'm not going to go into it, but
right,
yes.
We don't need to go into it here. That's not what we're here for.
Yeah, I remember you talking behind the scenes saying that you had something in the works that could be a really big deal, and that was going on for 2 or 3 months before even a reveal of what this was.
And then JR is saying here, like Yellow Flash charging money if he spends time on fulfillment or if he charges for starting the book somewhere. What? Oh, storing the book somewhere, and whatever other charges might be unclear. And then if he hires his mistress to be secretary for the book or something. So, but then you just basically made it clear that you're a partner in this, so you're not looking at it as if you're his employee. You're looking at it like you're his partner. Correct. All right. So let's so unless you guys have anything more to say at the moment, so can we go get back to this?
Yeah.
All right.
Look to do well,
It's just one.
No, but that's the issue, Levi. That's the issue. Is like I've been for the last 6 months working on this book, meaning I've been really taking a cut in pay because I've been doing this book without pay. Right? I've been working on other stuff just to kind of help with the bills a little bit, but for the majority of my income hasn't been there, and I've been kind of chugging through it, and then right in the middle of it, my house gets flooded, and I'm like, my finances. finance.
Right. But still,
So his house got flooded,
will.
by the way.
Yeah.
So this is the whole thing.
All right.
And I think the other thing that Ethan doesn't understand is John's personality here either.
Well, yeah. I mean,
John's serious but not serious, right here.
I think it's pretty clear that John and Ethan have probably never met in person. You know, they probably just know each other more online than they did, than actually having. Like, yeah. I met him when he came out to California, Rick. Yeah. But John and Ethan had the same experience with Ethan.
John and Ethan have been on a couple streams together.
All right. Yeah.
Right,
so,
John?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. And then JR.
Go ahead.
JR is saying here, yeah, I wish all the best, John. I hope you make a pretty penny and get a permanent bump in your page rate. So,
thank you very much. I hope that is.
Anyways, right. I'll let Ethan talk.
All right. Okay. Let's get back to this.
It's like life happens. I don't know how his house got flooded. I'm not sure what the circumstances, if that was a natural disaster or a pipe broke or something like that. But right now he's living in his backyard. He's like, I'm working. He's like, I had some money, I thought I could coast, but life happens, and my house flooded, and now I'm in trouble. And I've been working for 6 months on a project, and I haven't.
Now, I think from Ethan's perspective here, I think if anything, he, and for lack of a better way of saying it, John, I think in this, because of the circumstances you found yourself in, I think Ethan kind of feels sorry for you here. Granted, I know that's probably not. Nobody wants anybody to feel sorry for them. I get that. But I just to kind of give a perspective, at least what I'm observing here, where he's trying to come from here. I think he's now granted, I don't think he wasn't one of the ones who sent you any like Christmas gifts or anything like that, right? Right. Yeah. Just I know, and again, we're just addressing that. It's not meant as a gotcha or anything like that. Just addressing that. So, Rick kind of told me what kind of went on for Christmas. Yeah. So I'm aware of it.
Well, actually, this is the first time Ethan's probably finding out about all those either, too. So, not that he would have sent you a Christmas gift. It would have been nice. But anyways, should let get on. Yeah. And again, John, if you have anything to say.
Yeah, feel free to chime in. If anything here, grabs your attention, just let me know. I'll pause it and let you say what you want to say about it, and then we'll talk about it. And, if you feel you want to, and do all this. All right.
Okay.
I've been paid for it, so I guess what am I going to do? Right. Let me see here.
Everybody knows to make the money in the end.
Yeah. You don't want everybody knows the shit storm is not of your making, and you have a lot of fans.
And like every storm, it's going to pass.
We're going to blame anybody. We're going to blame Rex's homeboy. God.
For real. Yeah.
I was going to say, though, you're working with Kelsey Shannon, man. That's an incredible.
I'm going to try to fast forward a little bit because we're more interested in.
It's John Dillard. It's John Dillard. Full size graphic novel. It takes time. Eric July's whole thing is
everybody knows the shit storm is not of your making, and you have a lot of fans.
And like every storm, it's going to pass.
We're going to blame anybody. We're going to blame Rex's homeboy. God.
For real. Yeah.
I was going to say, though, you're working with Kelsey Shannon, man. That's an incredible opportunity, man. That dude is just badass.
Yeah, he was like, if I can help in any way, let me know. I was like, well, I sent him a DM, and I was like, well, let me ask you a question. I mean, how much are you willing to help? Because if it were up to me, we can get on the call right now and spend 12 hours a day on a call with you tearing my stuff apart and telling me how to make it better.
What a guy, man. Dillard's awesome. Seriously, he's like, how much are you willing to help? Because if it were up to me, I would, this guy wants criticism. I appreciate that. Renowned Zero says, I go by Sturgis now. Well, you always did. All right, so this is the whole situation here. So I saw this. I had this sent to me It annoyed me a little bit because John Dillard, here's the situation. Yellow Flash is on board with Eric July. Eric July's whole thing is, hey, look, we're not going to crowdfund our comics. Crowdfunding is kind of old news. What we're going to do is we're going to have our comic books ready to go. I'm going to invest $200,000 of my own money putting these comics together so that you don't have to wait. They're going to be ready ahead of time. I'm going to get some, artists to do the book so that they're ready to go. And then you just basically pre-order them. And boy, aren't we cool. We're way cooler than crowdfunders. And Yellow Flash has jumped onto this. I don't know if he did it out of spite or what his problem is.
All right. Again, I only was letting that go a little bit more because, of course, it did indirectly have to do with your situation, John. But
and I have not received a paycheck.
Well, what's that? John, you guys are going to be crowdfunding it, right? Of sorts. You're going to be going on Fund My Comic or whatever after it's done, or
yeah, there's gonna be a website. We're probably gonna do some sort of another website for crowdfunding. Yeah, it's like I consider like what Eric July does. It's crowdfunding.
Yeah,
they call it pre-orders, but it's basically crowdfunding. It's gonna get crowdfunded. Yeah, it's not like
even if
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said even if he does not consider it crowdfunding.
Yeah, whether it's on
crowdfunding, but Eric July doesn't.
Yeah, whether it's on your Yellow Flash's own personal website or the company's own personal website, or whether it's done through Fund My Comic, it's going to get crowdfunded, right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So, anyways, we'll get back to this thing here. Let's see what else.
Why? Because I signed this crazy back end deal. It is insane. I mean, it really is insane. This whole thing. So let me see. Travis Park says, you're simply the best. You're better than all the rest. Thank you very much, Travis Park. Dark Low Comics says, hail Harambe, hail chat. Your hat. Oh, yeah, I got my gorilla. It says boss. Let me see. Love that Eric July. Let me see. Read that one. Read that one. Oh, our programming. They're trying to reprogram all of these, I guess, young people. I got to imagine the people are going, okay, there is no partnership. There is one owner, and then there are employees. And that's a good thing. Fell apart over a disagreement that are generated from this. No. We've been through this already many times in Comicsgate. There's no partners. There's no joint bank account happening here. There's no both of us had this idea together. If Yellow Flash decides at any point that he doesn't want to do this book for any reason, or if he's unable to do this book for some reason, let's say he gets in some motorcycle accident and he's in the hospital, anything, any kind of tragedy, or just an attitude problem, which far be it for me to suggest that Yellow Flash might develop. What is John Dillard going to do? Is he going to go ahead with Yellow Flash's idea and publish it? Is he allowed to do that? Is he going to suddenly have access to the funds that are generated from this and be able to disperse them as he sees fit in order to finish the book? Don't fall for this. There's one owner. There's one. It's the person with the idea, and it's the person with the money in the bank. That's it.
Plus, can you respond to any of that, without giving away too much?
Not without giving away the financial part of it.
Yeah, okay. I just want
and we're not.
I just wanted. All I'll say is, that I'll be okay, and I do have access to the book if something would happen.
Yeah. So like,
we don't necessarily need the details. As I said, I just wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't want any details. So like, if something happens where Yellow Flash can't do the book, you can go on with the book, or something like that. Or you'll get compensated.
Like I said, the statement that I made is my statement.
Okay, which was again.
Yeah,
you'll be all right.
I think if we probe probe any more into that, then then it's gonna get into the whole ugly.
I mean, the thing is this: like, I can do what I want with what I want, right? But I already know. I know the kind of sales that I can pull with my audience and my reach.
Yeah.
I know the kind of numbers that I can do. And with this deal, weighed and measured, thinking about it cautiously, it's a much better deal than anything I could get accomplished on my own.
Yeah, and that's that's sort of what I've said to people. Yellow Flash approach. I said just basic the two ideas. Like you said, there was a lot more to it than just the two basics. But you just decided it was a better deal because of the possible reach, and there's a lot more potential for the way that you're going than just being hired as an artist.
Okay.
Would that be correct, John?
Yeah, because the fact is, I mean, looking at this realistically, there's a whole bunch of factors that you'll think about, right, when you're doing a deal like this, and you'll think about it all day and all night, and hundreds of scenarios run through your head. And I've been doing this for a while now, right? And I've had all the scenarios run through my head. I didn't just fall off the turnip truck yesterday. And realistically, everything, the rapport that we have, me being able to test out the waters, because we kind of just, hung out for a while and just shot back and forth ideas. The amount, how adult Yellow Flash is about all this, and how professional he is when it comes to the ideas, his amenality, just to an idea. I mean, the guy's willing to take ideas and throw away his own ideas quickly. You know what I mean? If you can make a good case for it. I mean, I don't foresee any personality issues, but if we do have personality issues, which I don't foresee, there's contract in place.
But you don't see it as Ethan was pointing out there. As Ethan was pointing out there, you don't necessarily see if there are personality issues that will hinder.
And the contract that you have with Yellow Flash, right? The contract with Yellow Flash covers all the things that he was talking about. Without going into detail what they are, it just covers it.
Right. Anyways, before we get back to the thing there, JR said a couple of things here, so want to acknowledge those. I still don't know any idea how a beef between EVS and Yellow over a cover page got into a beef with Eric July. So from what I understand, it extends to Eric July because the initial beef, first off, because Flash, after what he pulled on Ethan with exposing his page rate, decided to align himself with Eric. And Eric and Ethan were already having issues because, according to what RJ had told me, right? Eric apparently.
Well, you know what? We can go into this later because Dillard only has so much time.
Yeah, that part of it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. And then JR said, my Christian upbringing makes me, for Dillard, hopes about a comic book partnership. My consequent life makes me lend towards EVS's view of partnership. All right.
Yeah.
So with that, let's get back to the video here.
Everything else is a scam. Everything else is not true. Everything else is not going to work out too well. And you can accept that and understand it or cry about it later. But I promise you will cry. We've been through this many times. We went through it with Gabe El-Taib with his book. And David Williams, their partnership fell apart over a disagreement. Now it's not a partnership, is it? No. One of them developed an attitude problem, and it was not a partnership. We went through this with Nasser Rabati and Donald DeLay, and their 50-50 partnership, quote unquote, on their book, Brutus the Badass, fell apart. Their partnership fell apart when one of them decided they didn't like the other one, and then there was no money for the other partner. Suddenly there's no money available. We've seen this just happen too many times. And I've said to these guys, they're like, listen, get over this idea of 50-50 partners, okay? There is no partnership. There is...
The only thing I have to say about this, there's been lots of partnerships that have worked out, too.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know them all offhand, but
And plus, all right. Plus, if John can probably correct us on this, it's not. Is it or is it not a 50-50 partnership between you and Flash? If unless that's something you can't answer. If that's something you
No,
can't
it's been stated publicly. It's a 60-40, his favorite partnership.
Okay. 60-40.
Which of course you're all right with because you signed the contract. Anyways, on with the.
Yeah. Anything else there, Rick?
No.
All right. Let's get back to so yeah, and Rick, you make a fair point there. There just as, but that's life in general. Yes, you're gonna have some times when a lot of what Ethan's saying is true, where you do have some situations like that where things do fall apart, and then somebody in the end of the day gets screwed. But but whether it happens more or less than what he seems to be indicating, that's, I guess, for people to design for all of us.
It depends on which one you want to focus on. But anyways, on with the.
Yeah. All right.
One owner, and then there are employees, and that's a good thing. Okay, that's the way it should be. There's somebody who is responsible for all of this, and by the way, that person gets paid last, but they have all the power. They get all the money. They handle the money. They have all the power. They own the property. Okay, this is how it works. And then there's people who work for him, who receive a salary and have no responsibilities other than to just produce the work that they're supposed to do. Imagine how freeing that is. I don't have to worry. I'm going to get paid to do my work for this guy. He's going to give me a paycheck. If he stops giving me a paycheck, I'm going to stop producing work for him. And I don't have to worry about anything else. He's the leader here. He's the owner. He's going to distribute the book. He's going to do all that. This thing about it's so brave to go into a partnership with somebody who doesn't even do comics. Nobody here, none of these guys, none of these YouTubers actually do comics. They're doing this for fun or a hobby. I don't know if they think it's profitable. Eric July just raised $7 million and has received $0. It is not profitable for most people. If you don't know how to make money at this, you're not going to make money at this.
Although this isn't what John, I would say he's received money. He's just spent it on certain things. He spent it on like a van or whatever, or a building,
Right.
But he's received the money.
Yeah.
Anyways, on with
He took $0. Those of you who are like, he's a millionaire. No. $0. There's no money in it for people who don't know how to manage overhead, who are spending too much, who are ordering too many books, too many copies, who don't use crowdfunding properly to gauge the audience, your finances. That's what crowdfunding's for. Crowdfunding's great because I go, okay, I got Cyberfrog 3. Cyberfrog 1 sold 16,000 copies. Okay, so let me do Cyberfrog 2, but I'm going to print ahead of time. I'm going to assume I need 16,000 copies. Oh, shit. No, it sold too many. I actually need to print 30,000 copies of Cyberfrog 2. I underprinted before. Now I got to go back and print an additional 14,000 copies. And those 14,000 copies are going to cost way more because it's a ship. We got to go to war. Thank you, Theta JC, for $10. No comment, just $10. Thank you for the tip. If you're enjoying the show, please do subscribe. You want to send a super chat with a comment, I will read it. Headrock says, never trust a man who doesn't like Monty Python and the whole. Who this Dillard Draws guy is, but anyone who has the nerve to bet on themselves and not just be a herd. He spells herd wrong. How do you not know how to spell herd? You guys have been, all right, whatever. H-E-R-D, not a herd animal. That would be an animal that makes noise enough to be picked up through your auditory processing center. Herd animal. All right. Is all right in my book. What is your book, dude? Isn't it like Dean Cain? Adventure hero, because Dean Cain knows you are. Dean Cain, don't do a book about Dean Cain. It's just not a good idea, but he's doing it anyway. he's not betting on himself. He's betting on Yellow Flash. If he were betting on himself, Gabe, he'd have his own comic book. He would make his own book. And he did do that. He's betting on Yellow Flash not fucking him over. That's the...
I'd say you're betting on both of you, right, John?
No, I'm primarily betting on Yellow Flash's influence and reach.
Yeah, but
I know that what I do is good enough artwork to that people will receive it and receive it well.
Yeah.
It's not a gamble. The gamble is betting on Yellow Flash's reach, because I need to get my work in front of many more people's eyes. I've been plugging away at this for a good long while, and my reach has stifled and stagnated and has not grown. I'm sorry, what?
The point I was about to make, I think it's a little bit more than just relying just simply on Yellow Flash's influence and the number of people he reaches. I think it also, as I think Ethan seemed to be pointing out there, you're also betting on Flash's ability to properly read the comic business environment as well. I mean, if he made the mistake,
all right, but I'm also there. You know, when it comes to how we're going to be doing this stuff, where we're going to be going, when we should release, I'm also making these decisions. Like the choice to not release in October because we got an editor in, right? And we went over the story and the editor had some notes. I said, you know what? I agree with Literature Devil. I do want to put this middle part back in that we had taken out to make it 42 pages. I want to bump this up to 60 pages. Let's cancel that date. We'll move it forward to sometime next year, right? That was my choice.
And that had actually been another big piece of the criticism against.
Right, and there's a bunch of stuff like in this entire video. There's a whole bunch of stuff that could very easily be cleared up if somebody talked to me, or if somebody who was familiar with the project,
like what I'm trying to do here, right?
If somebody that was familiar with the project, like me or Yellow Flash or Literature Devil, were interviewed or something like that. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is Ethan is already fighting with Yellow Flash, and he's just trying to find something to fight a little bit more about, to pick at. That's what's happening. I
see that. But
I'm sorry, what's that, Mike?
I said I understand that, and my point in bringing you on wasn't again to like try to bury Ethan, Eric, or Flash. It was again because you got dragged into this little feud.
Because what my point that I'm trying to put across,
have the chance to answer, the things that are being directed at you.
Right. Because the main thing that I want to get across to you and to your audience is that this has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with the deal that we made. It has nothing to do with how much the money's going to make, or the money the book's going to make. It has nothing to do with the art quality or whatever. All this has to do is these guys are fighting, and they're looking for ammo. They're looking on the ground for rocks to throw. Right? So that's why this was brought up. None of this stuff, my well-being, how good the book's going to do. He's concerned about Yellow Flash having the acumen and the experience to run a successful crowdfund. None of that really matters. They're just talking points. The crux is I'm fighting, and I'm looking for something to throw. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's like throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on. I just, as I said, I wanted you to, since some of this was being, undeservedly, I would say.
I would say me realistically, me addressing every talking point, everything that he gets wrong, me going over and saying, yes, well, it's not like that. It's like this. There really is no reason for me to do that because nothing that I say.
I haven't been stopping it every.
Nothing that I say is going to stop this fight. Nothing that I say is going to stop people from looking at the video and saying, "Hey, let's speculate." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've already put my opinion out there on Twitter. Right. It was ignored wholly. Right? Nobody really cared what I had to say about it. They want to talk about the beef. They want to talk about their opinions, which are correct because everybody's opinions are correct in their own eyes all the time.
Right. Well, again, my point here in bringing you on was not to was not to like get you to change your mind on anything. It wasn't meant to it wasn't meant as a gotcha towards any of the involved parties. It was just simply to give you the opportunity to clear up anything if you had wanted to. Well, you were just saying that you did put your opinion out there on the whole thing, and everybody just ignored it. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to not feel ignored about it because everybody.
No, believe me, Mike. I've had opportunities to go on very large channels that want to talk about this stuff. It's it's just there really is no reason for me to address each individual. I want to look at it as a whole,
I laugh at JR's thing. Dillard has got between two monkeys throwing food. Perhaps it's better just to move out of the way.
Well, let's just hope that Eric doesn't see that particular comment because that's liable to start some tears. You guys know why it's liable to start some tears?
Because you're racist?
Well, because it basically.
Well, I think in this case it's Yellow Flash and Ethan that are the monkeys.
Well, the thing is, though, is Eric, if he sits there and sees that monkey comment, he might think because monkey has been used as.
Now you give Mike an out, and he just dives right in anyway,
I'm thorough. All of us are making 200 to 300 an hour, so perhaps the monkey is throwing. Okay, so anyways,
it's like even if this book does abysmal, terrible, right? If the book, like I would say, worst case scenario, I don't even think it will be this low, but worst case scenario, the book does like 80,000. Crowdfund's like 80,000, right? I would still be getting a bigger paycheck than if I did another Buckler book.
You'd still be getting a bigger paycheck than what?
Than if I did a follow-up Buckler book.
Yeah, which you will eventually too, right? You're working on those.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, Rick. Stay on topic.
Well, you said if you did a follow-up Buckler book, I should say eventually you're going to, so hopefully you'll be making more money than you did.
And why? Why is the hope that I would be? Why does that hope even exist?
Because
if I do this book with Yellow Flash and I get more exposure to his audience, who would, I'm assuming, would like my stuff, because most people who see my stuff like my stuff. If I get more exposure, then that means the next time I put out a Buckler book, it should do, in theory, better than the previous instead of worse.
Because the idea is you have more eyes on your work now who might be appreciating it.
Yeah, right. And hopefully Yellow Flash will bring you on a few times.
Like, look, Rick, stop opening up new avenues of conversations. I have 8 minutes left. Okay.
All right. Sorry, we should probably get back to this and try to get through as much of this as possible.
He's making.
Actually, that is the point of our show usually, though, John, is to open up avenues of conversation.
And I don't know if it's a good bet or not. Like I would say, even if it does happen, even if Yellow Flash comes through and this is great, he's hooked himself up with the FNT, et cetera, et cetera. No, it's not a safe bet. There's no telling what the book is going to make. After all, you've seen for Dillard, tried that hard to offer Dillard for money since if he was as proud as Flash suggests. Why accept the
excuse me.
All right. That's it. So again, as I said, I think we've basically reached the end of your part of the conversation here, John.
Right now, are you guys confused about anything that I could clear up for you?
No, I think overall, again, my hope was just, to give you a chance to to answer anything that Ethan had to say if you'd wanted to. And I think you did that. I think you made clear, from my perspective, I think you made clear what your position on all this is. And I wanted to give you that opportunity to do so. and not and not feel ignored like you said you felt ignored when you just put it out there on Twitter. I agree with much of what you said, that a lot of this is just them swimming through the muck and manure to see what they can toss at each other. And
I don't like that analogy because now you're calling me muck and manure because I got tossed.
I'm sorry, wasn't intended as much, but
Rick, you told me this guy wasn't gonna attack me.
I
never said that.
I apologize if it came off that way. It was not my intent.
He's teasing you, Mike. He's teasing you.
All right. Yeah.
No, the thing is this, and let me make this very clear. I don't have like this. I'm not gonna be on some like tirade or campaign against Ethan. I've been Comicsgate since pretty much the inception of Comicsgate. I was there watching Richard's videos, and Unranked Chevron and Tug and Yellow Flash and all these Captain Cummings, and then when Ethan came on, and I watched Ethan from the beginning. I watched all these guys, and I espouse and I follow the principles of Comicsgate the best that I can. And this is something that Ethan's done since the beginning, and it's why he's very, very successful. He's very charismatic, and he enjoys jumping into the fray and getting into beefs, and the beefs are entertaining. The only thing that I took a little bit of exception with me in particular is when he brought up that my kids were hungry, my kids are starving, and stuff. That's kind of a low blow. I didn't appreciate that. Me on a personal level, I didn't appreciate that. But his opinions and all that stuff, that they're all his. He hasn't wavered. He hasn't changed. That's the way he is, and he's entertaining when he does it. I still watch Ethan every now and then. He's a funny guy.
Yeah,
I like it. And because he's fighting with somebody that I'm working with, doesn't change a good gosh darn thing about me and what I'm doing over here in CG.
Yeah, I highlighted this comment because I think the sentiment is shared here, because I think a lot of people wanted to hear from you on this stuff. It's nice to hear from you, Dillard. So JR was, I think, echoing something that we all would appreciate. I mean, when we were hearing about, I know Rick and I were talking about this last week. We were one of the things we were talking about is why Ethan wouldn't just bring you on himself and address that stuff with you, and then,
because it would end up being a non-issue, and because then there wouldn't be any drama to be had.
Well, some people argued that Ethan couldn't do it because it might be, and Ethan himself even said this. If he did bring you on, there would be a risk of, of a possible torturous interference situation. In other words, now granted, I don't. In fact, Ethan even said, "No, you should honor."
I'm not a lawyer. I don't even know what that means.
Okay, in this case, it's torturous interference with a contract. Basically, what they're saying is that if Ethan was to bring you on, they feel that he would try to get you to break your contract with Yellow Flash. But Ethan's already said that that's not. He has no intention of doing that. Okay, that's what that basically means. The only reason I know about it is because the whole stuff going on with voice actor Vince McGonigan and all that. But anyways,
yeah. Well, there was also the thing with not Vic, Zach with with Mark Wade.
Mark Wade.
Okay, so according to JR here, you thought you were part of Comicsgate, Dillard? Until now, you were on the benches. Now you're in the game. Oh, boy.
Any thoughts of that comment, John?
That's offensive. I take offense to that comment.
Seriously, or are you joking again?
Seriously. I mean, I've done a book already called The Buckler. I raised about $15,000. Why do I got to be on the benches? That's not a very nice thing to say.
Well, I'm not sure whether JR was around to know that you raised $15,000 on a book.
What?
JR says it's hilarious hilarious to hear people actually think any comic book creator has enough skin in the game to take a dispute to court. Only people who have never been to court would believe that.
Well, actually, Eric July actually himself had that very situation over the whole copyright thing over the ISOM name.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Right. Well, I am about out of time. 6:00 my time. Is there any other
my
thing?
time as well, because I'm on the
Any
West
other
Coast.
questions before I do have to go right now?
All
Yeah.
right. Well,
Well-
okay. Well, I'll let Rick. Rick, was there anything you
Well-
wanted to?
Well, no, I was just going to let John know I've secured a domicile somewhere to stay when I end up in your time zone in a week and a half.
Where?
Well, in Chilliwack, in just outside of Vancouver, metropolitan Vancouver.
All right. And I'll wrap this up with you with just saying, and I want to thank you.
You call me, Rick. You let me know where. I don't know where that is. Let me know where. Tell me in a DM or something.
Okay, for sure.
I want to thank you for joining us. I hope you felt welcome and felt that you were able to, get anything out that you wanted to get out. You're always welcome back. We do now. Granted, usually they're not focused like this. Normally, we just talk about what's going on in.
You saying your shows are normally less focused than this?
Well, the Sunday night shows are. Sunday nights are more open mic, but the rest of the week are pretty focused. Because Monday to Thursday is the Niche Newscast, and Fridays is the Historical Comics Retrospect.
Well, if you want to come on any week, I can just send you the link if you want to come on. Any other Sunday, John.
Yeah. So.
Sometimes there's Tim's on, sometimes Metal's on, and sometimes some other people.
But anyways, I thank you again for joining us, and I hope that I hope you gleaned some stuff out of it. I hope you enjoyed your time here and enjoyed the conversation.
The only thing I want to reiterate, I do want to reiterate something before I go.
All right.
None of this stuff is a big deal. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Book's going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Project's going to be kick-ass. Rick's seen some of the books so far. It looks fantastic. It's gonna be great.
Awesome.
People are going to like it. There's going to be another beef happening probably, I don't know, whenever Roka Beer Kumar wakes up.
Before you do,
Stuff's gonna change.
Did you want to share any links before you left? Did y'all share any links, anything you want to promote or anything like that before you go?
I guess I can go grab my YouTube channel. Hold on.
All right, give you a chance to do any promotion here, and then I guess after that we shall bid you adieu, because I know you said you had your is it your mother or mother-in-law's birthday?
Mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law. Oh,
Let me know if that went through, Rick. It's a link to my channel, my YouTube channel. Just crossed over 1,000 subs. We're chugging right along. Go and check it out. It's a fun channel. I don't post often enough, only about twice a week. Videos and live streams, but content is good. It's
you're not quite like me, Rex, and Ethan, where we're like pretty much on almost like in my case it's 6 nights a week. They're like on like almost 7 nights a week almost every.
Yeah, and he's just starting to get back up since to doing things since the flood.
I appreciate both of your inputs, but I was in the middle of a pitch. What I was saying was, go and subscribe to my channel. We do fun stuff over there. We have draw logs. We do little tutorials sometimes. I'll do sped up speed drawings and put those paintings and put those out there. We have Scribbattle, which is a fun game show we do every Wednesday at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can hop in the chat and you get type in your guesses to what we're drawing. And as you guess, if you're quick on the keyboard, you actually get a prize. You get points at the end of the round, at the end of the show. And you can accumulate those points. We keep track of them, all the points that the viewers accumulate over the season. And we have a board, kind of like a carnival prize board, where you can pick a prize. You can spend your tickets to get prizes at the end.
Yeah.
So,
And depending on how many you can spend them throughout the season too.
all right, I guess I'll stop my pitch. Goodbye.
No, I'm just trying to help you. God, go ahead, John.
I'm done, I guess. Go ahead.
All right.
Roll the outro, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, John, and I hope we can have you on again, and in a little bit more relaxed environment. Well, with that, I know you have to get going, so we'll let you go.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Say hello to your family.
All right. So, looks like we're just past the hour mark. Then.
Yeah.
All right. So. All right. Well, let's see. So, Rick, how did your day go today?
Just a typical Sunday.
Yeah. So, I do hope that was he enjoyed the show. That was.
Yeah. I think he did.
Yeah. You have to understand, Rick. I don't always pick up on when people are joking with me like that. So, I'm pretty focused on what I'm doing. So.
Yeah. Well, that's why I let you know. I know John's personality. Sometimes he's joking. Sometimes he's serious. Sometimes he's a bit of both at the same time.
Yeah, and I hope he knows, and I hope you know, I was not necessarily comparing him to or calling him manure. It was just
he knows.
Yeah. So all right. So let's see. Well, we have quite a bit of time to go then. So, I guess.
Well, maybe you can invite some other people on for the last half hour or last hour or whatever. Unless you want to quit early this week or whatever. We still could go over a little bit of Friday, obviously, since I was your.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because that's right. You were on Friday. Did you want to give the audience again your impressions? Because we went over, of course, comments from Fiction House.
We went
Jungle
over
Comics, Volume 1, Issue 13, Jungle, Planet, and Fight, Volumes 1, Issue 3 of it. So, you want to go ahead and give some of your impressions?
Well, of course, the first one was Sheena that we went through, and it was all right. It's typical story of its day. There was a couple points in it that I thought were a little bit far-fetched. I forget what they were offhand, but that it was pretty good. We've read Sheena before several times, so either with me a couple times and with other people. So I don't mind reading it. I know what it was. It was like, oh yes, these guys we've come to hunt elephants, and then when they get to where there's an elephant that they can get easy, it's like, we're not going to let you kill the elephant. Then why did you agree to show us around to where we could find the elephants?
Yeah, because the funny thing was they acknowledged being elephant hunters, and then Sheena turns around and says, "Oh, you can't kill a baby elephant,
or you can't kill the mama elephant." It's like, what?
Yeah. So, and then after that was, of course, Weird Stories of the Supernatural with Stuart Taylor, where he claimed to be a wizard, as it were, or a scientist. Yeah. A scientist, actually. He was a scientist.
Yeah. That was that Shrunk Grew? Or no? Was that somebody else? And then there was Simba.
Before that, there was K.O. Kirby.
K.O. Kirby. K.O. What a name, K.O. So many.
You knew it was a boxing one. You knew it was a boxing, comic.
That was the Tiger story, wasn't it? About the kid that adopted the lion and his father.
Well, yeah, that was Simba. That was the Simba story. The K.O. Kirby one was about the kid who who idolized
The boxer, yeah.
the boxer, and then ended up becoming his protege, and then had the gangsters trying to take out KO and all
Yeah.
that. So, which is pretty standard fare for that time period. Mafioso trying to do their thing. So
Yeah, and then there was so the symbol one wasn't too bad, and that was a lion, not a tiger.
yeah, and well, that one was almost all narrative too. There was just there was a couple.
Then I know the last two I think were my favorites, which were I think the shortest ones. And I can't remember what they were.
Simba and Red Comet were the two shortest ones.
Yeah, Red Comet. I like. Red Comet. That was the guy that could. No, I was going to say that was the guy that could shrink and grow. I forget. But I actually, that reminds me, I have a character that I called Red Comet as well. K.O. Kirby was Golden Age goodness. One page from falling out of a tree to moving in the coach, gentleman, and being a protege, yeah. Well, just because he liked how he handled himself in the ring against one guy, it's a good thing the media isn't involved.
Well, back there in the 30s and 40s, boxing was still, a pretty huge pastime for a lot of people too. So,
yeah, well, I think it is today. You just don't hear about it as much. Okay, so we covered Simba, KO, Sheena, Simba. Red Comet. What was the other one that we did?
I think Wade covered all five of them. We did Sheena, Stuart Taylor, Weird Stories of the Supernatural. Then it was K.O. Kirby, Simba, and then Red Comet.
You said Stuart Taylor. What was that?
Stuart Taylor in Weird Stories of the Supernatural. That was all one feature.
Okay. I don't think there was anything supernatural about it, if I remember right.
Well, him traveling into the future.
Yeah, but that's not really that's more sci-fi.
Well, sci-fi can still fall into the supernatural realm of things.
Yeah, sometimes, but traveling into the future usually isn't. Maybe fantasy at best, but not supernatural.
All right. Well,
There wasn't. I don't remember there being any supernatural element to it in the future. I don't know. I forget. Well, that shows you.
Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying as we were winding that part, I was thinking that we could probably. There is an article we could probably go over that will, give us some time to, more in the anime realm. Because let me see. Oh yeah, this is the one I went over the other day, and it goes back to what, of course, I've been covering. What we've been covering in terms of the localization issues too. I'll pull it up. We can talk a little bit about this. We should do this. All right, so move on to this here. Resurfaced video shows former Funimation scriptwriter Jamie Markey proudly touting wild changes made to Penny and Stocking, English dub, quote, "You want it to be different and original." Not always. Well, first off, no, most of the time, no. You don't.
Actually, no. I don't want it to be different, and I don't want it to be original. I want it to be
Well, you wanted to be original in terms of what the original creator had intended, not what you as a translator had intended.
Well, no, what I mean, well, yeah, I guess it sort of means so, what you mean, but I can't see how you can mean anything different than you want it to be different and original. Well, if you're wanting a dub, translation of something, you want it translated the way that it means what it means. Okay, maybe I can get it. You know what? In some ways, even if I don't know the singer that they're implying, you can usually get that it's a big singer or whatever. So what if I don't know I don't know who some big star is or whatever. I get that they're a big star. That's all that matters, because there's lots of times in lots of different things that you don't realize who some big name is, And it's like, but if they want to change some big name of a star, fine, that's a little different. But I want the story the same, I don't want you to change it. The story doesn't need to be changed. It's gotten as popular as it is because of the story and everything in it. So it doesn't need to be different than the original story, and it doesn't need to be more original than the original story.
Right. So, okay, so let's look into this. So, article was by Nerdigans, published this past Wednesday on the 17th. Okay, so, hot off the heels of her infamous dub of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid becoming the focus of yet another round of localization discourse, a video has resurfaced showing Funimation scriptwriter Jamie Markey proudly boasting about the massive changes she made to the English script of Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. Okay. Produced by Studio Trigger, predecessor Gainax, Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt is a 2010 action-packed comedy anime that revolves around the misadventures of the titular Anarchy sisters, Panty and Stocking, a pair of angels whose constant bad behavior eventually gets them booted out of heaven and banished to the ghost-plagued Dothan City.
Jeez, I wonder what it. So their bad behavior. I guess they're technically not angels. Well, they're technically fallen angels. They're demons.
Once there, the two are tasked with using their magical transforming lingerie weapons to defeat a number of Dothan City's evil spirits, as doing so will earn them the special, in small quotes, heaven coin currency they need to buy their way back home. I guess they need to collect a certain amount of heaven coin. The topic of Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt's English dub was first raised in regards to the latest localization discourse, courtesy of its lead English dub scriptwriter and Panty voice actor herself, Markey. Basically, same situation as in the Mr. Kobayashi Dragon Maid, because again, she was not only the scriptwriter, but the voice of the person delivering the line itself. So that was. Okay. On January 8th, offering her own take on the discourse, Lupin III, prison of the past video technician Kaylin Salcedo, aka Mars Girl. This is one of the girls who was heavily involved in the Vic situation. Just to let you people know, dismissively asserted that fans unhappy with the English localization industry's constant butchering of Japanese works and declare were acting as if, quote, writing a word you didn't like was akin to war crimes. In turn, Markey taunted, quote, if they're really so upset about literal translations, can you imagine how they'd freak out if they ever watched Penny and Stocking? Well, I think these people would have had to watch Penny and Stocking to know that you changed the.
Yeah, and they would have to know what you've done to it to changed. You know, they've watched you moron. They've watched it. How do you know that they think that they know that you've changed stuff so much?
From there, Markey was met by a comment on Twitter user at LuponFan83, wherein they mocked, quote, all these trolls over one sentence, in bracket, referring to her patriarchy edit of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, unbracketed. They'd lose their minds if they watched Ghost Stories. Now, we'll explain Ghost Stories in a sec, because they explain it too in the article here. Because Ghost Stories was a completely different situation than.
Yeah, I've heard of this, and I actually watched it with Metal. Metal put me on it.
Okay, so yeah, and I think I've talked about it before too. For context, when given the Western rights to produce an English dub for Studio Pierrot's 2001 anime adaptation of Toru Tsunemitsu's children's series Ghost Stories, localization studio ADV Films were given nearly free reign to do as they pleased with the script by network owner Fuji TV. So first off the bat, as compared to most of the other stuff we're talking about, they were actually given permission to make some of the changes they made in Ghost Stories.
Yeah, and that's because the original thing did so poorly. They just didn't care about it. Nobody really cared about it. In fact, with what they did to it, it made it better, apparently, and it's become a lot more popular. The Americanized version, the dub version.
Yeah, it became basically a cult classic. So their only roles, as recalled by voice actor Greg Ayres, who himself provided the dub performance for the series Leo Kakanoki. Now, Leo Kakanoki, let me see a picture of him. No, they don't. Now, Rick, if you had watched it, Leo was the one who wore the glasses.
Okay.
So that was the character that Greg voiced in there. ADD Films crew were that, quote, we couldn't change the names of any of the characters. Okay. And we could not change how the ghost was killed. Okay, so that was the third thing. And we couldn't change the meaning of that episode. So basically, if they had done with Ghost Stories what Jamie Markey did with that one line, that could have gotten them in trouble, because it would have changed the whole context of the story. Essentially,
well, it depends on what they mean by the meaning of the episode, because that could be taken, I think, a few different ways. Like if there was a moral to that episode, that they had to make sure that moral was somehow included in the episode, or something else. I know there's probably another couple of different ways. I just can't think of them. And for the meaning of the episode.
Yeah. As such, the ADD Films recording sessions went absolutely off the rails, resulting in one of the most fever-dreamish and nonsensical dubs of all time, and a subsequent existence as a cult classic. Now, for those of you who haven't watched it, to understand why it was so popular, unlike with what you see with like what they're doing, what they did with the patriarchy comment and the Gamergate comment in prison school. Okay, this in Ghost Stories, they didn't show a bias per se towards one side. they skewed. They based it from an ideological perspective. They skewed both that they might have slightly skewed the right a little more than the left, but it was still a lot more well balanced than what they did here. And they weren't necessarily trying. They didn't necessarily sit there and try to push a narrative either. Okay.
Yeah, they were trying to be funny, and they were not trying to push an ideology. They were just trying to be funny, from what I'd say.
Right. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. As we of course continue on here, let me just scan down here. Quote: Ghost Stories, Crayon Shinchan, Penny, and Stocking with Garterbelt further declared Markey before passive aggressively opining that, quote, probably only the last one would make in brackets would make them angry, since that's the only one I worked on. Well, not entirely. Again, not entirely true, and we're gonna find out what the issue was. I already know because of course I read the article already. But in the case of Ghost Stories, they did get permission to change it. In Crayon Shinchan, that also was a pretty irreverent, dub.
Yeah, well, they were.
I don't know if they did get permission out or anybody really, Well, I've seen the Funimation Shinchan dub. I've even recently looked at a few minutes of the first episode of the Vitello dub. Vitello dub was a lot, I think closer to what Shinchan originally was. But needless to say, so the Dragon Ball Super voice actor further inflamed tensions during subsequent exchange with another fan, itself beginning when she opined of her critics, quote, I enjoy how they always pluralize, in smaller quotes, these lines when they can only come up with one example. Okay, Rick, let me ask you something. How do you think, when people saw that, how do you think they were likely to react?
Giving 3 or 4 examples?
Okay.
They probably
keep bringing up only one example, and then she goes, "Well, you're just pluralizing this, even though you're only giving one example."
Yeah, they pluralize.
How are people going to react to that?
Yeah, start giving 4 or 5 examples, 2 or 3, whatever.
They're going to go out and find them, right? You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You think that we only have one example? Now I know of 2 examples that I always talk about. I use them earlier, but most people are gonna say, "Okay, you just challenged this lady." Okay, let's.
The thing is, probably most of these people, they do more than one. They just the easiest one that probably everybody would know, and 2, you only have so much space on Twitter, so you're only gonna probably put one in. It's like you want to, but if you want a 15 thing thread, Twitter post thread on the 20 zillion different examples, they'll give it to you, each and every person.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see how all this turned out, Rick. Replying to Markey at Moodslayer95, then asserted, quote, you'd think with the amount of spit and vinegar they're spewing, they would have chosen a line said by Toru or Kobayashi during pivotal plot moments or something. So, at that point, choosing to add more fuel to the fire, Markey then mocked, quote, well, they haven't watched, in brackets, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. So they only know what they've been directed to be angry about. If they really want to be mad, they should watch Penny and Stocking. Well, granted, hearing this does make me not want to watch Dragon Maid because it sounds otherwise. Aside from Funimation's dub, it does actually sound like it's a pretty interesting anime to me. But but I would have to hear something like that, and I'm not as. But anyways, unwilling to let this baseless antagonization stand. Again, a typo there. Stand. And this is what I was just saying, Rick. And went digging through archives of various material, from tweets to interviews to panel appearances, in search of any information regarding her approach to panty and stocking with garter belt dub. Soon thereafter, a video was uncovered revealing that Markey had not just explicitly spoken to the topic of the series' English dub during its 2012 Anime Expo panel, but outright boasted about how much he changed. So, didn't I tell you that when you antagonize people, they were liable to go looking for more examples?
Yeah.
So you think that we only have one or two examples, do you? Yeah, I've got. If you really believe that, I've got some land. I got some swampland, Florida. I'd like to show you. Anyway, so as seen in the video during the Q&A portion of the panel, Markey is asked for insight into her decision to overload panty and stocking with garter belt English script with curse words, to which she explains, quote, the reason a lot of those words are in there is because you want it to be different and original. Now, again, Rick, I'm a communication guy. I'm a word usage guy, right? And you know how I feel about about the use of swear words. So supposedly she just totally went on a full on cuss fest with this dub, with her script writing. That's what they're basically saying here. So, quote, when there's a lot of swearing, you tend to get decent. And this is really the point I really went off on here. So, when there's a lot of swearing, you tend to get desensitized to it, and especially as a culture, we are much more desensitized to F-bombs, she told the group. Now, here's my thing. Is that really a good thing? Is that really such a good thing that we have become desensitized to using swear words? Personally, I don't think so.
I'm not sure whether it can go one way or the other. It's hard to say, because there's part of me that says yes, there's part of me that says no. Especially, the godly part, but it's like certain words become.
Rick, here's the thing. If you become desensitized to using curse words, then you're also becoming more desensitized to using the Lord's name in vain too.
Yeah, well, see,
I would say that in that particular case, that's a form of devolvement.
Actually, I would tend to disagree with. Well, I think I would tend to disagree with that. Although probably maybe in today's society, a lot of people do, but. I don't think it's because they're willing to use the F word or whatever. A lot of big words have become curse words that should they be considered curse words too? Like shit. Shit is in some ways considered a curse word, or damn or whatever. Are they really curse words? Like what's the definition of? I guess it comes back to what's your definition of curse word too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's almost a form of de-evolvement.
And then
when you start, I mean, I've talked about this on several occasions. Yeah. It just shows a general lack of intelligence when you just every other word and I've talked about there are people out there like this who's they swear like drunken sailors. There's people who's You can't seem to get their point across unless they can throw in a swear word, either every other word or 2 out of every 3 words. It makes them sound ignorant, when they do that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, a lot of the people that don't have the right words, so they just whatever. Sometimes they don't even think. It's just. I've heard it.
And that's another thing. You become so desensitized to it that you just don't think. You don't really stop to think about what you're saying or doing. You just act more on impulse. Again, that sounds kind of like a de-evolvement to me.
I've heard it said that it's an angry mind, a lazy mind expressing itself angrily. But
maybe you were reading. I thought you were reading a chat there, but I guess you weren't.
I don't have to chat up at the moment.
Okay, so she told her, so quote, so mixing it up a little bit made it more interesting. You never knew what people were gonna say or to say. Another typo there. We tried to keep that spirit of offensiveness and cleverness, unquote, which is what makes it so charming. Unquote. So, in the interest of fairness, it should be noted that later on in the panel, Markey claimed that she chose this approach to the series dub script because she had allegedly, quote, received an email from brackets Penny and Stocking original creator to make brackets the script as offensive and filthy as possible within the realm of United States law, and to put as much Western terminology and slang as possible, and then later teach it. Unquote. Now, if that's true, then people, okay, if the creators were down with that, then I think people would be more accepting of that. But here's the catch here, though. However, to the same end, it should be noted that as of writing here in 2023, 2024, Markey's claim exists as the only public mention of this supposed request. So they've never actually confirmed if the creators themselves did in fact approve this. She just says that they approved it.
Yeah, well, the question is, are the creators alive to reject it or not?
Well, I think it also depends upon, how it might ultimately affect the product. If it's something that hurts the product, I would say they'd have a very negative,
Yeah, but my question is, okay, she's seeing the creators sent her this email. If she sent this out and it's been found out that you could, if the creators are alive, you could easily go ask them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if nobody's went and asked them, then why haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say either way for that one because I don't know if the creators for that thing are still alive.
I mean, for me, my big issue with that is that.
But the other thing is
sensitized to swearing and using swear words like that. I think we're going in the wrong direction there.
Yeah, but
I think as a society we should be a lot more intelligent than have to drop F-bombs every other word or 2 out of every 3 words to get our point across.
Well, yeah, this is true. But then there's just in these characters, okay, maybe she put the F word in, okay, and maybe it wasn't there to begin with. Do the Japanese actually have an equivalent for that in their, curse words? I don't know. I would think
considering how in Japanese culture overall, there is a big emphasis on respect, personal respect, respecting your elders, respecting those who are ahead of you. I don't even think there is a whole lot of swearing that would go on in that to begin with. because
Yeah.
the East Asian culture in what we would at one time call the Orient, right?
Yeah.
That little triad area of Japan, China, and Korea. There is the whole idea of showing respect, especially towards your elders, is a big thing. I mean, you would get really ostracized if you disrespected your elders.
Yeah, but having curse words has nothing to do with respecting your elders. We've had curse words in the English language, and like a long time ago, 1,000 years ago, we had curse words in the English language. Yet, we were really taught to respect. I think every culture has
a sign of disrespect to cuss somebody out, Rick. It's it is considered, generally speaking, disrespectful. Okay.
Yeah, to cuss them out, but to say a curse word, if you're not trying to cuss.
Well, okay. So let me also kind of differentiate. I'm specifically talking about in normal conversation. Yeah, I get that sometimes something happens. Like, let's say you drop a hammer on your exposed toe. You're walking around barefoot and a hammer gets away from your hand and it drops on it. Yeah, and somebody kind of yikes out a swear word, an expletive. Okay, that's a little bit more understandable. Okay, that hurt.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking. My pain was overriding my thought process. Okay, that I think most people understand. But I'm talking more about in normal conversation. Like, can you imagine this conversation you and I are having right now? If we were sitting, I mean, let's just say there actually was a live censor button that would go off every time we. Could you imagine this kind of conversation, right? Yeah, she's such a bleep, and I want to bleep her because she's so bleeping hot, and I'm gonna bleep this and bleep that, and bleep you, bleep. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but
every time you were in a conversation, every time you said swear word, bleep, bleep.
Well, we see that Demolition Man.
Huh?
We see that Demolition Man where you get fined the tickets. For saying the curse words, right? So but my point is, curse words, I believe, exist in every culture. To what degree they use them might vary. To what, and there's always your uncouth.
Yeah, but here's another point too. They said she overloaded it.
Yeah.
Curse word, and I don't see the Japanese overload. I mean, I think, as I said, they probably do have their own set of curse words. They probably will say on occasion, but I don't think they don't. I don't think they would be swearing, let's say, as much as we do here in America, because there is such an emphasis on respect, and it is in all cultures. Swearing is considered respectful, no matter what culture you're in. Okay.
That again is.
But then there goes into my point there too. The fact that we're becoming so desensitized to that type of disrespect, Rick. The fact that you're sitting there trying to defend that desensitization.
Yeah, but most people
society already, right?
But most people don't use it to curse each other out a lot of times nowadays. They just say, "Oh, I got an effing ticket. I effing did this, or I effing did that, or blah 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 blah."
But is that really necessary?
Is it necessary?
Okay. I had a great, I had a great cake. Why replace the word like great or like a great birthday cake? I had a great birthday today. Why replace it with?
It's not technically. It's not replacing. It's adding.
I mean, are you saying that you wanted to fornicate under cardinal knowledge birthday cake?
Yeah, but unfortunately, most people don't see I know that's exactly what it means, but unfortunately, most people don't even know that nowadays that that's what it means.
Well, I didn't until I was in my 20s, and I think it was my dad who actually told me that. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I knew it in my teens and my 20s too. I've known it for good, probably 25 plus years. But there's a lot of people that are our age that don't know what it means. There are a lot of definitely teenagers nowadays. Most teenagers or would know what it means, and people.
And again, do you really think that it's a good thing? Think about this too, right? Do you really think that it is a good thing? That it really is a good thing in terms of our education system? Good thing just in society in general. That 13, 14, 15-year-old kids are throwing around
The F bomb? No.
F-bombs like drunken sailors. Do you really think that's a good thing?
No.
Okay.
Probably not.
Again.
But as I was gonna make my point towards this cartoon, I was also gonna say I think the F bomb has actually made it into each and every culture or most cultures on the earth. It's not even a word in their language, but a lot of them just have got.
Well, as I understand it, the term fornicate is actually a biblical term.
Yeah, but I just mean
fornicate means, as I understand it, means to basically engage sexually.
Yes, I know that, but what I mean is they have the F word itself. They don't have anything else towards it. They just, they've learned.
Well, because it was born here in the States, and everybody just adopted it. It's like certain words like that.
In Japan, they'll say in Japan or in Spanish, they'll just say the F word as the F word. It's just a curse word.
So that article did get us through a good chunk of time here because it's like coming up on hour 47. So it probably did kind of start wrapping up. Did you enjoy the Rick?
Yeah. The only other thing I was going to say about it is it depends on the characters. I don't know anything about those two characters that they talked about. Are they supposed to be uncouth and all that like that in the actual original one? So if they are, when you're putting, the F word in their mouth, it's not really a changing character necessarily.
Well, it might not necessarily be, but I think overloading it just to overload it, just to be obnoxious, I think
it could be
too much.
Probably too much, but it might be still keeping in character with the characters. I don't know. Mm-hmm. For sure. So I'm not going to judge too much on that. But the other one that you said something that's totally not in character for the character. So it's like.
All right. So it's now coming up on an hour 48. So as we get ready to head out, today of course is Sunday, January 21st. Okay. We'll do that, and then we'll do the outros, and then we'll head out there. So today is January 21st, 2024, actually. So we're going to take a look back at this weekend. Beach history. So let me just remind myself a few things here. So first off, we're going to go back to yesterday, January 20th of 2024. First stop is we're going to head back to 1999. And on this date back in 1999, which was, of course, 25 years ago today, Jim Henson Company's Brats of the Lost Nebula, a science fiction puppet computer animated television series for kids, would actually air its final episode on this date back 25 years ago today. So it aired on the WB, of course. So on this date, 25 years ago today, Jim Henson's Brats of the Lost Nebula aired its final episode on this day, 25 years ago today, or yesterday rather. Then, moving ahead to 2014, on this day in 2014, or on yesterday's date, 2014, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. This was the go home Raw before that year's Royal Rumble. It also marked the return of Batista to the WWE. On that show, heading into the Royal Rumble, saw Randy Orton defeat Kofi Kingston by a DQ in the main event. Saw the Usos defeat the Wyatt family members Eric Rowan and late Luke Harper, with Bray Wyatt in their corner. The Funkadactyls of Cameron and Naomi defeated AJ Lee and Tamina Snuka. Let's see, anything more? The night opened up with the Shield members of Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns defeating the Rhodes Dynasty. That's, of course, Cody and Dustin at the time of Goldust and Stardust, and Big E Langston. So, 10 years ago yesterday, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event. It was the Go Home Raw before that year's Royal Rumble, and it was also the return of Batista to the WWE at that point in time. So now, moving on ahead to 2021. First off, we head back 30 years ago. And on this date, 30 years ago today, Sunrise's OVA Dirty Pair Flash Mission 1 was released on this date 30 years ago today. The Mission 1 OVA of Dirty Pair Flash was released on this date 30 years ago today. And finally, on this date 20 years ago today, the 10th issue of Runaways from Marvel Comics was released on this date back in 2004, 20 years ago today. Sold for $2.99.32. It was the conclusion of the Teenage Wasteland storyline, written by Brian K. Vaughan, penciled by Adrian Alfona, inked by Craig Young, lettered by Christopher P. Elicolos, and colored by Christine Spring. So there we go with that one. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. So before we go, of course, we're going to do our outro. Rick, if you want to, I guess, talk about anything you're doing, maybe share any links, promote anything you're doing, the floor is yours.
All right, well, I just did put a link to one of my latest videos. And yeah, I just, right now I'm in the middle of doing Canadian Shield 3, drawing it up. And of course, I'll be continuing that even into my move west for a minimum of 2 months, maybe longer. So, yeah, that should be good. Not sure what else to say. But yeah, so go check that video if you haven't. Hopefully I'll have another one up tomorrow, in the next couple of days, a couple more.
All right. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. We will be back here, of course, tomorrow with more Niche News. Of course, Rick will be on with me this. Actually, no, Rick was on this. Actually, R.J. Carter from Critical Blast will actually be with me this Friday, as we'll, of course, be continuing our look back to January 1940 in our historical comic retrospect. We'll be looking at, of course, books that went on sale from Fox Feature Syndicate. We'll be focusing in on, of course, we'll be kind of acknowledging the first issue of Blue Beetle, as well as going through Science Comics #1. So hopefully I'll see you all back here tomorrow and every night on the Mikesand. So until tomorrow, bye.
Bye.